Hello and welcome. You're listening to the Nordic Takedown, a weekly Star Wars Unlimited podcast coming to you every Thursday on all platforms. With me today, my co-host Jonah. Welcome back.
Hey, thanks for having me. Good to be back.
You have
Even
a
though I
bit of
was
a
on last week.
yeah, exactly. You have a bit of a streak going here now with
Yeah.
quite a few episodes in a row. Feeling good?
Yeah, I was a bit under the weather this weekend, but I'm doing way better now. So I got to play a little bit of weeklies today. That was nice.
Oh, nice. Always nice to get to your weeklies. And also returning guest Jakob, welcome back to the show. It's been a while.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's been a while. If I'm not on, I'm a listener, of course, but it's always very nice to be joining the pack. So thanks for having me on.
Always great to have you. So today's topic is going to be, we're going to talk about some psychographic analysis of the player profiles. That's very theoretical, which is the overall theme for the episode. So in short, we're going to talk about what motivates players to play in different ways. And this is building on some really common themes from other card games as well. We are going to do a little bit of a what's up news segment in the middle, and then the meaty subject of how do we build decks. So before we get into all that, let's see what everyone been up to in their SWU lives. Jonah, you say you went to weeklies. Have you been up to anything else?
No, not really. Sadly, I figured out I was not able to attend the Dutch PQ. I mean SQ, sorry.
SQ, yeah.
So even though those tickets dropped, I did not get to order. And other than that, I guess been looking and thinking a bit about Premier decks because we'll have a showdown, I think this weekend or potentially the week after.
Oh, nice.
So I have to start thinking a bit about what to bring. But there are plenty of decks I've played before that are still strong. So don't need to reinvent the wheel.
Right. Well, Jakob, you haven't been on for such a long while. I think last time were you and me talking about Galactics.
Yeah.
So what's been happening in your SWU life this fall?
I think maybe the highlight has been obviously the two larger tournaments that I've attended, which was the Malmö Open, which is ages ago now, but that was good fun and a pretty good performance from my end. So I really enjoyed that. And then obviously went to Skövde for the PQ, and always lovely to visit Monotorsk. Just best store alive in this country, pretty much. So yeah, that's good. And I actually attended a pre-release of this set, which is the first set since set 2 that I've actually attended a pre-release for.
Ooh.
I'm not really a big fan of sealed, but that's maybe not why you do pre-releases, just to get your hands on the cards, right? But yeah, did that, and I've actually managed to do the first 2 drafts in Gothenburg that we've had, and managed to build Jabba decks, both of the drafts, and
Nice.
Man, this set is actually very, very good for draft. It's growing on me. It's much better than I expected it to be.
Yeah, I think there are more archetypes opening up for draft, and you see people fiddling with it. So it looked to me like draft would be maybe a little bit limited to a few strong leaders, but it seems like a lot more things have been performing lately. Yeah,
for sure. It's we've all seen all of the lists and the tier lists of the leaders, and I don't agree with them really. That's my feeling after 2 drafts is that it's much wider and much more dependent on quality of drafting from your pod. And so on. So I'm really looking forward to delving much deeper into that in this set as well. So
And your store showdown is going to be a draft store showdown, right?
It was a draft
It was.
store showdown, and that was for last set. It was the weekend before the pre-releases of the last one. So, and I sadly didn't attend that one, and I couldn't make 2 weekends in a row. So I had to decided on going to the pre-release instead. So, but yeah, it's I love draft. It's talking about deck building. It's so much fun.
Yeah,
Really,
I think what you said about tier lists, they maybe apply more to sealed, because you're not as you can't balance as much, because if something is more popular, like for instance Leia of this set, which is really strong, in a draft, that's probably not going to be as strong when you have more people going for those colors.
Yeah.
You have to read more into what's going around in the pool, what cards are you given, and then you can use your skill as a deck builder more, and in that way the leaders won't be as dependent on what's S tier, what's A tier, right?
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that. And just been really liking that there seems to be a lot of different leaders that are really competitive in the draft format for this set. And obviously there are some in the bottom droids that are not really that good. but yeah, overall, I'd be happy to try a draft leader in nearly any of the colors and combinations, actually.
Yeah, no, I'm very much looking forward to getting my hands on some drafting for this set. So it's going to be cool. Well, my SWU life has been quite limited this past 2 weeks since I was on last. I haven't really done much else than just building decks and testing decks and just having fun with it. Not actually went to any events or anything, but I'm having fun with the new set, and I feel very optimistic about what this set does to the game anyway right now. I know last time I was on, we expressed some concerns, but as of right now, I'm having fun with the set, so I have no complaints really right now.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to our first actual topic then. So to give a little bit of a background here, when the Magic the Gathering designers were working on improving the meta back in the early 2000s for their premiere format, they were starting to think about what motivates people, which is in marketing and such, that's called psychographics. So they brought out 3 profiles of the kinds of things that motivates and makes the game interesting and why people want to play the game, and they call these 3 psychographics for Timmy, Johnny, and Spike. This has been widely discussed in card gaming since, and I know that for when I played Game of Thrones with you, Jakob, these archetypes were adopted for a Game of Thrones, and we're going to talk a little bit more on that later. But my idea is maybe we might want to try and adapt this, or at least discuss whether or not we think it's a good idea to adopt this for SWU. So what is Timmy? Yeah, right. Right. So Timmy, Johnny, and Spike, what is that then? Well, Timmy is a player that is in it for the fun of actually playing. Timmy, unlike Johnny and Spike, isn't necessarily that concerned with winning, even though most Timmy players probably like winning as well. But that's not like the main drive. The drive for Timmy players are the experience while you're playing. So for a Timmy player, you're looking for interesting things to happen during your game.
Doing
Timmy
cool
players
stuff.
Yeah, exactly. The most prevalent and most discussed Timmy kind of play is the power player, the kind of player that likes to play these huge bombs, or like things that just combos, or things that make you feel something, whether or not you win or you lose. You're going to have these moments in the game where you feel like it's so cool, I did this cool thing. That's a very common part of the Timmy player, but there's so many more things that might motivate a Timmy player. And the equivalent to Timmy, when we were talking about this in Game of Thrones, were very much more, because in Game of Thrones, lore was such a big driver for the game because of the books and the TV series, which was actually still a good TV series mostly during that time. Then it turned sideways, but most of the time I played Thrones, we liked the TV series. Anyways, so we call those Ned players. They were trying to build thematic decks, trying to almost reenact things from the books, or you would play characters that you thought was cool to have meet or something like the experience.
The consequence of being a really Nedly player were like you would be very hesitant to draw in characters that maybe never met, or you wouldn't pair the Starks together with the Martells naturally because of the geographical differences, etc. Sorry for doing the comparison, but like
that's very...
anybody who's seen or read any of the Game of Thrones knows that all about these families, right? So you would not blend families that would be in war with each other. So you would be very, very hesitant on adding those things even out of aspect, right, which you could do in that game as well. So
so being a Timmy player might be done in some different ways, or a Ned player for Game of Thrones then, but it's all about the experience while you're playing. Win or lose, having fun while you play is what drives a Timmy player. Then you have the Johnny players, and the Johnny players, they are not necessarily they want to win, but what drives them is doing it in a spectacular or unique way. A Johnny player doesn't want to win with a net decked deck from nowhere. They want the recognition of having broken this combo, or built this surprise thing, brought this deck no one was expecting.
They're the artisans.
Yeah, they're the artisans. For the Johnny players, building decks is more even part of the game than actually playing the game, and they are driven by winning. But they don't want that win in just any way. They wouldn't want to be caught winning with the most meta deck. They want to have at least a very unique spin on it, or play something spicy in that deck. In that case, they want the recognition of having done something, with something unique, having beaten the meta, having figured something out that no one else saw. And it can be on like, no one saw you being able to win with the Akbar deck, maybe. Or it could be just, oh, did you put that card in that deck? It's just the spice of it all.
It's out of aspect, but it's actually
right.
huge in this matchup.
Yeah, so the Johnny players, they are the artisans, like you said. They are the craftsmen, but they're also a little bit of the hipsters. Like, they wouldn't be caught playing like, no, that's for everyone else.
I feel like they enjoy kind of the mechanics and the rules and the nitty-gritties of the game.
Yes.
Like the possibilities of the game.
Johnny players,
they find real pleasure in doing a play on a weekly play night when there's an opponent who's basically saying, "Oh, you're not allowed to do that," and then it's like, "Yes, watch me do it. It's legal, and I'm winning by doing it."
Exactly. Yeah, these are the guys that finds and breaks cards, that find combos. In Magic, they are often combo players. They're trying to find these combo decks that just no one understands what they're doing, and then all of a sudden, bam, haha, I won. These are also the players that want to build a deck without, like, a space only deck, or a ground only deck, or a deck that doesn't play any units. It's all events. So they want to find these unique things, something they want to be challenged. Can you win with only space units? Is it possible to win without attacking the base? Like, it's those are the kind of things they want to have, the challenge. They want to do it in their own way.
And they very rarely care about if the opponent is having not even a good time, if they're even you know,
Yeah. No,
wanting
yeah.
to come back and seeing you again. They don't care for a minute about that.
They can be very pleasant people and and you might have a fun time talking to them, but you might not like what they're doing with their deck. Playing against them might be such a drag. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then eventually we have the third category, the spike players. And these are the guys that just want to play the best decks, the strongest decks, that want to be on top of the meta and have made the right calls and just win it. They want to. They want to be. They want to be. They're very much concerned with winning, but they're very much concerned with being good at the
The
game.
competitiveness.
Yeah, the competitiveness. All of these players can be competitive. That's very important. All of these players can be good at the game. There's nothing saying that a timid player don't care about being good. They might be very much interested in being good, but what drives them is having fun as they're good. Whereas the spike player, being good, being smart, playing well is very much what they're about. Some spike players might only play draft because like having the best deck there might not just be, they might not feel that it's them accomplishing it if they net deck, because that's kind of how the best deck might not be your invention anyway, so they might just want to play draft because that's how they can express like their own. So spikes, they express themselves through player skill, whilst the Johnnies are very much also about expressing themselves, but expressing themselves in the deck building, in the composition of the deck, whereas the spikes express themselves in actual play skill.
Yeah.
Like that's where they're at. All right.
Sure.
So that is the background here.
I'm
That is
so
what,
excited to talk about this for some hours now. I've been just sitting here like, oh, I want to start saying like, oh, that's this.
So why not start with the obvious question? Who are you? What kind of combination? Because no one is really just one thing. Who do you think you are? Jonah, what kind of a player do you think you are? What motivates you?
I think I have aspects of all three.
Yeah.
I'm very much a social gamer. That's the Timmy side of me. I love the social part of events, just having fun playing the game. I can cherish that part, but what drives me more is I think almost a 50-50. I think a bit more towards Spike. So I like tuning, but also I like kind of brewing. But I think I get more joy and drive from feeling like, okay, I can do well with this deck than necessary breaking and making something cool and kind of cherishing the rules and interactions more with like a Johnny style. But I do have also like deck building joy from the Johnny aspect. So in some sense, I'm a bit of all three, but I think I would give it a slight tip towards Spike.
More Spike than anything.
Yes, but it's not by much.
Not by much. All right. Jakob, I think I know who you are.
Well,
here's Johnny.
No, I would say I'm definitely I'm a spike player at heart, right?
Yeah,
I'm a very competitive player in terms of to put things into perspective. Like attending a tournament, I would never attend a tournament which is anything above a weekly local with another mindset than Spike. That's probably who I am. I want to win, but the most pleasure I find when playing is when overachieving something with a suboptimal deck, right? Or a subpar deck in terms of what people expect and think. So
that's your Johnny in you.
that's the Johnny in me, which means that going back to the Game of Thrones time, I won Worlds with a deck that everybody was looking down upon and saying,
That was the most Johnny thing anyone has ever done.
Went there with a deck that even the commentating in the streaming for the final, I played cards that, they were said, oh, there's a deck restriction that you need to include 75 cards. So obviously you need to include cards that are not good. That's why he's playing this card. That was the mindset of some people that were looking at this deck saying like, this card is not good. But to me, that card in combination with other cards and the composition of a deck makes this a very competitive deck for me. So I am very much a spike player at heart, but there is a very much a dark side in me where the Johnny player is just eating everything. So I love brewing decks, and it's also a sort of like a tournament hangover that I have, which is every time I attend a tournament, something happens afterwards. You're absolutely knackered and you don't want to play your deck anymore, and then the Johnny comes, and when Johnny comes, all of the fantastic brews comes as well. So for me, I have a side where I'm playing very much in a spike mindset. That doesn't mean I want to net deck the best deck in the game. I'm the opposite. I would try to find whatever beats that deck, but it's still, I want to win. But when the tournament is over, the Johnny part comes out, and I just want to brew anything that's like the Akbar deck, like you were saying, like that. If that would have been my thing, I would have been so proud, because I love those things. I think that's me generally.
Yeah.
I don't have much of the Timmy inside of me in terms of that. I want these characters to go together, this theme to happen, the story to go out. I'm very much a story board game player, but when I play card games, I tend to go the other two routes. What about you, Victor?
Yeah, like I never really thought of myself as a Ned player back in Thrones because of how much emphasis was put on the story, and that wasn't really what motivated me. But then when I really understood like the magic terms, where like magic doesn't really have a theme that way, so that part of the Timmy component isn't really expressed that much. But when I look at what the main driving force, then a Timmy player is very much something that I can identify with, but that's not what that's just part of it. So I am a social player. I do it for the player experience, but I never thought of myself really as a Spike player either. I always thought I was a Johnny player, but I really am not a Johnny player. Not at all. Not really. I don't build decks. I don't care about having come up with anything. I'm so happy to use other people's ideas. And the thing for me is I need to find the deck that I like playing. I need to find the deck where it's fun to play. And what makes it fun for me is a little bit more of the player skill thing. So it's really, I am a Spike player at heart. I'm just not always trying to, well, I'm always trying to win, but I don't go into a tournament thinking that if I don't win, I'm not happy. I have a goal set for myself. This is how much I want to be able to perform in this tournament. I want to accomplish this in this tournament. And that's what I'm going for. And if I've accomplished that, I'm really happy. But it is about my player skill, expressing my player skill. But it's also a very big part of it is about having fun while I play. You don't find me with the Harm 2 Blue deck ever in the meta there, because I don't find that deck particularly fun to play. If I would have liked playing that deck, I would have played it. I love playing Sabine, so I'm not adverse to the meta decks. I'm just very particular about what I like playing. So I'm a huge part Timmy and a huge part Spike. I think a little bit more Spike than Timmy though. I think there's more Spike in me than Timmy.
I think you bring up something really interesting here as well, is that you're quite often a mix between two of them in some sense, and it's also it can really show in different ways. Like, I don't see myself as a spike player who enjoys playing in any meta, right? So if the meta is very much skewing towards Han 2 blue or Han 1 green, or Ray Data Vault, or any of these decks that are super stable and just extremely strong, but those are decks that I don't enjoy playing myself, and I would never net deck any of those decks and take to a tournament. So those metas bring me much towards I'm a sleeper in this set than actually competing. So there's so much of a mix between the Johnny and Spike in me that I need to brew my own deck, but I need for it to be viable in at least I need a 40-60% chance. I would not like. I enjoyed the Django meta. I am one of the few that really did, because I enjoyed Django as a leader. I enjoyed the Django green, for example, that basically got kicked in the balls.
You kicked my ass with that a few times.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is that I don't necessarily don't like the best decks in the game, but I'd like to be able to solve it myself. That's an important aspect of the gameplay for me. So in those terms, I'm very much a mix of the Johnny and Spike.
Yeah. You, Jonah, profess to being a little bit same mix as me, with the social player as well as the winning player. Now,
Yes.
Is there anything that you feel had to change about these profiles for SWU? Or do they apply just straight up for SWU? Do we ever see other players that just don't fit with these categories? Do we know players that we don't feel belong in these three, or mix thereof?
I think these are really good, actually. I feel like they cover... In some sense, I feel like you could put Timmy and Spike a bit on a
Axis,
and then Johnny is kind of veering off in another direction almost.
Yeah.
Right,
Because it's caring more about the mechanics of the game and combo-ness and deck building. And I feel like that often, at least with the judges I know, often attracts people maybe to judging. People are really interested in like the rules.
Yeah. If we look at the people we know that are really into the Johnny aspect, that would be also the same guys that are a little bit into judging, like Pontus, who's often on this podcast, is definitely a Johnny, right?
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
But I think I think you can also maybe segregate the Johnnies in a few different sort of branches out as well, right? We're talking about, you want to brew, you can sit in a deck builder for hours and hours and hours and hours. That's one part of it. But I also think there's some segmentation of that, which is like just somebody who is really logical and maybe not in a Spike way wanting to win, but they really want to be sequencing well. They want to be really sequentially efficient and playing the most optimal play for each round, rather
That's
than
very much me.
Yes. So that's and brilliant in the sequencing. That's what drives you. And it's like very much, you're a math person, Victor. It's like according to calculations, this sequencing would be better than this sequencing. And I don't see that as generally very much into the Spike thing. It's much more about Johnny, I think.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Well, Spike, of course, you want to win, but
if they feel like they have accomplished this thing that they set out to do, it might be that's more important than the actual winning part.
Exactly.
Because, as you said, they have theorized how these lines could make the deck strong, and then you can kind of prove it, and you show that, okay, the deck works as it should.
And I think the branching that I was speaking about previously for myself is much more about maybe defining it as, I'd like to play rogue decks. Like, I'd like to win with a list that nobody has seen before. I dislike net decking for sake of my own playing. I want to try this out myself. I want to prove the naysayers that this card is good in this
Yeah.
meta, and more of like a, I've got a good feeling about this sort of thinking. And I think that's where the lines between the different archetypes are blurred out, where you get a little bit of a mash between Johnny Spike or Timmy Spike, where you have these ingredients that are important for individuals.
Right.
When
So
it comes, when it comes to what you said about kind of adapting this to Star Wars, I feel like there also is a big lore/theme factor
right.
for the Timmy, because a lot of people are attracted to Star Wars Unlimited because of the IP, because they like Star Wars and they want to use these characters. Maybe they only play heroism because they love the heroes, or they only play villainy because they love the Star Destroyers, and they want to play these cool capital ships, or that could very much be a driving factor. And even you could say it goes to the length of being more attracted to Twin Suns. That's also a more thematic kind of, and also more casual format where you can express that in a different way.
Yeah. 100%. I feel that when I'm playing or building decks for Twin Suns, I am much more Timmy than anything. I'm even if I'm not going by lore, strictly speaking, I'm trying to do like fun deck. Like my main Twin Suns deck is a heist deck. It's space pirates doing a heist, and that's what the deck is. That's what I want to do, and that's why the deck is fun to play, and it's all about like pulling that off,
That's cool.
So I 100% agree.
Yeah, I think the driving factor is, just to add to what you were saying, Jonah, is like the driving factor for the first category, the Timmy. Oh, I can't wait what you guys have thought about the names for this. But anyway, the driving force for the Timmy one is like the game should feel like Star Wars.
Right.
This should feel Star Wars to me.
Right.
It could be one of the driving forces, but yeah.
Certainly, I think so. I think much more than in most Magic situations anyway. I think
but also side note there, I think Commander has a very, very big Timmy factor, because there you can actually say like, okay, I'm going to have a dinosaur deck, or I'm going to have a unicorn deck, or it's all about this, just expressing yourself in your deck.
Right.
And we could even I'd just like to briefly mention like a game that most people have probably tried out at least, which is Hearthstone, and where this is also a major factor of these traits or culturally different types of cards, right?
Yeah.
Playing your dragons, or are you working with your beasts, or do you have a long plan where these characters or these categories grow, or are you rushing? Like, it can be applied to, of course, to probably all card games that have some sort of lore or some sort of theme, at least, right?
Yeah. So, why are we talking about this? Because we're not developers for the game. Why is this interesting for us as players? What use is it for our listeners to learn about these psychographic characters or archetypes?
I think for me, I can only look historically. Like, I have a background of playing lots of Game of Thrones. The lore was important. It was also a driving force from the designing team. That game was designed by Eric Lang, and he coined the terms Ned, Shagga, and Jamie, which are the three equivalents of Timmy, Johnny, and Spike. Yeah. And they were also reiterated by Nate French, right? Who were lead designer and doing that design together with Eric Lang. So I think it was a natural part of that game for me for many, many years. So I think it naturally is in my sort of play style and deck building style, is thinking, who am I as a deck builder? Can I grow by sort of embracing these archetype namings? I think that's a little bit for me.
No, I 100% agree. I mean, I came across this the same way you did back in Thrones, but understanding what kind of a player I was has always, and translating to other card games, I've played so many card games, and I'm always the same kind of player. I'm still driven by the same things. The social aspect is so important. Having fun while I play is so important. Doing cool plays during the game is more important sometimes than winning. But being good at the game, like expressing myself through the playing, understanding that about myself, has opened up my understanding of what I need to be doing. I can't be playing shit decks because I'm not going to have fun. I'm not going to have fun with shit decks. I don't have to start trying to build unique decks because I'm not a Johnny player. I've never been. I don't have to find a broken combo. I just have to find a deck that I love playing. Sometimes that means adjusting a deck to make it more my own, but it's always about, like, how can I express myself when playing, in terms of playing well and in terms of doing fun things. So those are the two main ingredients, and understanding that about myself have made me have more fun in the card games I play. And certainly going into SWU with that knowledge about me already established has made me be able to find decks I like, to find a way to play that I like. I'm sure it helps me have more fun with the game.
Interesting. For me, this is all kind of pretty new concepts, also because I'm new to actually like following a card game. Before this, I had played Hearthstone and played Kitchen Table Magic, basically. So now, in retrospect, I can see, okay, when do I get joy from the social aspect, when from the more competitive side. For me, it's a very seasonal thing. When a new set releases, I get more deck building rush and joy around looking at the new cards. And then as we progress to more tournaments, then it's more about tuning, right? Then the more spike comes out. But all in all, it depends on kind of the mindset going into a tournament, I feel like. So that can be a good thing to kind of have some expectation, like what do I need to have fun?
Yeah.
Will I just have fun going here for the social aspect, playing the like turning cards sideways, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
kind of a Timmy saying, I guess.
I guess,
just
yeah.
let's turn the cards sideways. We're gonna have fun that way.
Right.
So
I agree. So to wrap this part of the thing up, we need to find some names. We need to make this a Star Wars thing. So what should these psychographic archetypes be called in Star Wars?
we won't
So
call
I
it
have. Yeah, do you want to go?
before you say yours.
No, go ahead, Jonah.
Because I also wanted to hear what you guys think about what decks we can imagine these archetypes play. Because I instantly thought, Johnny, they play hard control.
More than anything, I think
the
in
boss
SWU.
blue, and I don't know.
I think in SWU, definitely Johnny players are. Bosk must be like the dream come true for a Johnny player. You have all these interactive parts, these cogs of the machinery. 100%. Bosk blue or Bosk green, both of those should probably appeal to a Johnny player, right? Yeah, I think so. So maybe Bosk should be the name for the Johnny.
Yeah, I
that
think
is a clunky character, right?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. My thinking of the Johnny was that the naming could be a Mandalorian.
Oh yeah,
basically because this is the way, and that's the way of doing things. We want to do the wild mathematics. We want to do the pretty much the steam training play, and we want to surprise our opponent and ourselves pretty much with what we're doing. So this is the way that we do stuff. Any alternative is a no. And but Bosk is very good as well.
I think the Mando there wasn't too bad either. Like the guy that crushed me with the Mando red deck in Helsinki, that was definitely a Johnny player. Like,
Yeah.
he was
Yeah.
very much a Johnny player.
Yeah. But yeah, it's
Din Djarin, is that his name, right?
Yeah.
yep. Yeah.
So
Very much
maybe a
so.
Din player then.
Yeah, Din player is if you want to go deep, Din or Mando.
Yeah, Mandalorian maybe rolls off the tongue better.
Maybe. So what
I
would
had
be
a thought about
Timmy?
Timmy, and
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm imagining the Timmy player to be, like I said, the game should be played as Star Wars. It should feel like Star Wars. Thematic synergizing decks, probably. Rebels, clone troopers over here, Leia and Han doing teamwork, all of these things potentially. And you want to win in a morally right way, maybe, rather than anything else.
Perhaps.
So my thinking, maybe it's bland, but it's very much a Jedi way of doing things.
Right.
Timmy is a Jedi. Typical way would be maybe that you're playing a deck where I know it's not optimal to play Luke, but come on, it's Luke. I
Yeah.
need Luke. So I'm just imagining this to be the Jedi way, but I don't know.
So a Luke player.
A Luke player, maybe.
Yeah.
But maybe it's because I think
I feel
Timmy
like
is
also
more of a boring type of things.
When I imagine like the Timmy, sometimes it's drawn kind of as a child in like illustrations. I also think of like young Anakin.
Right.
Oh, for sure.
Like Annie,
for sure.
the
Annie
player.
Annie player could
Annie
be
player.
a pod racing
but
Annie.
I like kind of the Jedi idea.
Yeah. So
But
that's
Annie's also a Jedi before he becomes something else.
yeah, of course.
Of course. I like Annie, especially with the young Annie, the pilot image, the pilot Annie, that card, that's kind of that looks really that looks the part for me.
Yeah.
And also that card wouldn't go into a deck that isn't played by a Timmy player.
Yeah.
For sure.
Right. Maybe a Johnny player will find a way to break it, but
exactly.
So far none have seen it.
Wait. Pilot, true. I guess
Pilot Annie.
The hidden one is more Timmy-like.
Yeah, certainly is.
Yeah.
So now, how about Spike then? Could it be anything else than a Boba player?
Oh, that's
maybe a Django then. So maybe a Fett player.
A Fett player. I was thinking the Sith, but it's because I draw the line to be power being the only truth. Like winning is everything. I don't care who you are going to die.
Right.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think Boba is a very, very interesting choice. I just think
like no allegiance. Boba can be bought by anyone.
True. That's very good.
And Boba was obviously the most like hated deck for such a long time.
It resonates so much with me because Boba was banned, right?
Yeah.
So exactly. All the Spikes played Boba.
Yeah.
Of course, you're right, Victor. It's there's no competition there. It's Boba for sure.
So I think we've got our three names. Then it's Annie. Are we going with Mando? We're going with Mando, Annie, Mando, and Boba. Those are our three psychographics then.
I'm going to ask a rhetorical question. Is Adam the most Boba player in the Nordics?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
even somebody in the same tier?
He might be the only player.
The definition of a Boba player.
Yes, and the only player I know that is only one thing.
He doesn't flirt with any of the other archetypes.
No, he's just a Boba player, isn't he? Well, then.
Love you, Adam.
Yes, we do. So, a little brief interlude before we move into deck building. So we had a couple of things happen this week. We had the tickets went on sale for the Tilburg. Well, first we found out that the Netherlands SQ is going to be in Tilburg, and then after that they dropped the tickets just a few days later. And they sold out in 15 minutes or so. I know you didn't get a ticket. You wanted one. I wanted a ticket. I was a few minutes late to the thing. It happened. It was fast. Any comments?
I guess
I'm not surprised. It's my only comment, really. It seems like these tickets have been going really quickly.
Yeah.
The last few SQs.
Yeah. Yeah. Munich went really fast, like within an hour or so. And this was even faster.
Yeah.
I think it's important where they put things. And I think if putting an event in Germany or in the Benelux or in maybe France, parts of France at least, it's really easy to get to for everyone. A lot of people are going to attend. That's just how it is. And if you put an event in Bilbao or even in the UK, which isn't EU anymore, less people are going to sign up, or at least not as quickly. So I think location is something FFG should really be looking at. When and where do we put our tournaments? I think what was really surprising me was the fact that they announced the actual dates and location of the Tilburg event so late. I thought maybe it wouldn't be such a rush to get there because people wouldn't be able to know whether or not they could go to it yet. But apparently I was mistaken. People are going to go.
I think it's extremely weird, maybe not concerning, but it seems I'm baffled that they announce dates 6 weeks before or 7 weeks or whatever that is,
very
and
short notice.
release tickets. I mean, it's borderline unprofessional in terms of organization.
Yeah, I mean, if you announce a date and a location, and then you give people less than a weekend to manage to understand whether or not they're going to be able to get there, and then you release without too much notice either the tickets, so that I knew I was going to try and get there no matter what. I have family in Holland, so it wouldn't be too problematic for me to get somewhere to stay anyway. So I knew I was just going. And even so, I didn't know that they were going to release the tickets on the Monday because the information on the ticket release was not broadly advertised. They put it on there on the OPE Discord server, and they put it some places on their site, but apparently I didn't find it, and I was actually looking for it. So yeah, room for improvement.
It seems. I mean, they are selling out, so
That's
they
good.
can always rely on them selling it out, but it doesn't bring in new players. Maybe it's not what they're aiming for either, but it's not open enough for. It's basically 80% of the people going there is probably the same as have gone to the other SQs, and I don't know what I honestly think about that. Maybe that's okay, but to me it seems a little bit exclusive.
Yeah.
I think
It's a 512 players cap, right?
Yeah.
For SQs?
Yeah.
Is that something we need to put a question mark behind, or do we just need more of these events?
Probably for
Exactly.
next season,
That's
right?
That's what I think. I think this should be a clear signal to FFG that they need more. They need more of these in Europe. They are selling out, but they don't just. I mean, there are takeaways here. Bilbao didn't sell out, not because people in Europe aren't interested in tournaments, clearly, but because it was announced with very short notice in a spot that isn't easy to get to.
Yeah.
Like Tilburg is very easy to get to. Munich is even easier to get to. So obviously these events sell out quickly.
Yeah.
I think that's the takeaway. And also give people a bit of time and there is a demand here. You should, for the next set, try and have more events. Go for it. Why not? What do they have to lose? Right.
Yeah.
Well, let's not be too bummed out about missing that. There'll be plenty of more tournaments. Something to be happy about, though. We had our first glimpses of the next set already. A Lawless Time was partly spoiled in the in-flight report. So
Yeah.
Just some very brief first reactions. What did you think about what you saw, Jonah?
I liked that we saw like very thematic spoilers, which we usually do with the starter sets. That's always cool to kind of see a leader and cards designed around the leader. In this case, we had Jabba with the Great Pit of Carcoon as a base, so the Sarlacc pit.
Yeah.
And that was very cool, with even Salacious Crumb and another Rancor. But of course, the thing that's most fun with new sets is new mechanics.
Isn't it, though? So how do you feel about what was spoiled in that department? Any thoughts, Jacob?
I think the part of adding a secondary way of using your resources in terms of adding credits is interesting. It's not something that's new for FFG. It's something that they've been fiddling with for probably every card game that they've been doing to varied success.
Right.
But I wouldn't say it's new for SWU either, right? We've seen that all of the leaders that have been cheating with resources have been sort of borderline broken.
Nah, is that true though? Because neither Dooku nor the old Jabba have been particularly broken, and
It's
they
because
have.
I think it's because their flip is unreasonably late.
Yeah, that's true.
The only leader that I see that is working with such a late flip is Set One Palpatine.
Yoda, perhaps, maybe.
Yeah, that's correct as well. But to me, I think the flip for those leaders were just poorly designed to a bit too late. Dooku is a good body, but the flip is just a little bit too late. But if we look at it from the other way, we have Boba, we have Han in
Both
all
of them.
variants, even three variants of Han. Cheating with resources is apparently very good in any card game that has resources. So I think credit is interesting. Going to be interesting to see how that card pool in that set is, how it's built, how much it utilizes the credits, and if it potentially is a problem. Always a little bit worried about that.
I mean, we've had resource cheating mechanics in set 3 with exploit.
Yes.
And that was never really broken. It felt very fair in a way, and it remains to be seen whether or not they made something problematic here. But I'm optimistic. I am cautiously optimistic about this mechanic. This could be a fun thing, and if the pricing is right for it, I think it might not have to be bad.
It always depends on all the conditions, right?
Exactly.
Right.
You also have the aggression heroism Anakin, for example. That is also basically resource cheating. You're using your own base life for resources.
In a way.
In a way, and it's always a little bit troubling because it's so good.
It can be. It can be.
I think this is going to be great fun for all the Johnnies.
Isn't it?
For sure.
Because now you can kind of open up the space a bit more for combos. When you have more available. You can plan over multiple phases.
Yeah. You can maybe get to that thing that you're looking to get to. Yeah. there was also the multi-aspect cards being revealed, and I think that is something we've all been just waiting for, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for
Very
sure.
unsurprising. Very much not surprising to me that was coming. It felt like a very natural progression.
Yeah, you could even hear the design interview that were on stage there. It's I think the mention was that he came on board after set one was designed, and the first question he had, "What do we do with multi-aspect?" And they're like, "Pitch it, please. Pitch it,
Yeah,
please."
right,
So
right.
yeah,
It feels very natural progression for it, and
Mm.
I feel there's no way that's going to be necessarily problematic in any way. It feels just like a design space that needs to be explored.
Yeah. I do, however, feel like triple aspect was a bit unexpected to me, because I feel like that is not necessarily increasing the design space.
No.
It's more narrowing down. It's saying you have to play this exactly, right?
Yeah.
Unless you can get around aspect penalty, like the old Hera
Yeah. Yeah.
expectation.
All right. So let's move into deck building a little bit then. Because of a new set, new mechanics, that's going to be fun. But we also have a new set with a lot of fun new mechanics. Do you guys actually build decks? I know you do, Jakob. But do you build from ground up often? Do you think,
yeah.
Jonah?
Haha, curveball. I I I do build from ground up. Sometimes I see some cards, or I look at a new set and I feel like, okay, I want to utilize some of these cards, and then suddenly I end up with a completely different leader than I first expected to. But now with more sets out, with 6 sets now, which is kind of the maximum card pool we get, I feel like
Right. Yeah.
it's almost more difficult to build from ground up. I'm more drawn towards existing archetypes and leader based combinations and kind of familiar strong cards in the pool. So now it's more, the deck building process looks very different for me.
Where do you start? Do you start with like a deck that is existing and try to add new cards to it, or do you start with a new cool card and looking for a deck for it?
mm, Now it was more the new cards. So looking at the new cards, seeing, okay, this thinking, okay, this card could make maybe a space deck much better. The new light maker. Okay, so how can I use light maker? Okay, we saw the Mandalorian crazy space deck in Finland. Okay,
Yeah.
that could be cool. But okay, do I need red? What if there's new cards in green? Or like, you can experiment, and kind of while you look at the cards and put things together, your ideas will kind of lead the way in that creative process. But when it comes to actually trying to make something good, I mostly rely on my experience as a player,
Right.
um, because you just build up this feeling for, is the card good or not? It's kind of difficult to explain to a new player, right? Because
Right.
like, you just have to know all the other cards that exist
Yeah.
in order to be able to judge if this is good or worse than average.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, it's a little bit of both. Like, for one thing, I always have my Sabine deck, and I'm
Hmm.
always looking at a new set from the lens of, all right, so what does this make for my Sabine deck? What
Yeah.
new cards will go in there? Will it be, what will it do for the deck? Will it make it faster? Will it make it more resilient? Will it make it overcome some of the problems it's had? Like, we've had huge issues with turret for a
Yes.
while now. We've had a turret problem. Did we get any solutions to the turret problem in this set? And that's kind of one way I'm deck building, and something that I'm doing a lot of
Yeah.
right now. But
Yeah.
another thing is always like, so there's this thing that I want to explore. Which deck, like we were talking about, which deck is best suited to explore this combination? So I already talked a little bit about how I think that Axe Wolves and
Emergency power or
emergency
something.
powers is an interesting thing to explore,
Yeah.
and as it happens, I've been playing a lot of Gas Accents for the last
Yes.
set, so that's definitely a deck where that seems to fit. But I've been trying other decks with that combination as well, and just see what deck does it belong in, and is it good? And it turns out it's a very Timmy thing. It is a very, very Timmy thing. It doesn't necessarily win you games, even though it sometimes does, but it's never a bad feeling to play for 6 resources in your 6 resources turn and just turn a guy that was just a 3/3 into a 17/17, and it's
Yeah.
like, go right, deal with that now. Even if they can deal with it, it's gonna be fun. I'm gonna
Yeah.
have a good time.
Yeah.
So that's the Timmy part of me really liking this. This is definitely the kind of things I like to have in a deck. It
Yeah.
just makes for these moments in the game where the guy goes, how much is that? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's 17 now. 17. Yeah, it's 17 now. All right. I think Rivals Fall. It's like, yeah, that's fair. It's
Yeah.
probably what you should do.
Yeah, I think you definitely need some new experience tokens.
Yeah,
You can
you got
make
to
the
bring a
actual custom
bunch.
+10/+10.
Yeah, you're gonna have to bring a bunch.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
But you're definitely right when it comes new sets.
Mm,
Upgrading your old ones is, of course, a big part of it.
right.
But I feel like there's more fun with maybe looking at, okay, anything that wasn't played, could we now give that more of a chance? For instance, I
What's
revisited
viable?
Leia Tarkintown back
Yeah.
from set 1 and I guess a little bit set 2.
Mm.
Because of Nemec and
Hmm.
some other great rebels.
Yeah.
Um,
How
and
does it feel
even
then?
plot. Haven't tested it too much, but it was, it was fun.
Yeah.
So I can't really say if it's actually viable or competitive, but definitely has more to deck build with, which is always fun. That you can kind of, you have some more possibility to tune towards matchups or just change the deck when the meta changes as well.
Something worth exploring, so to say.
Mm-hmm.
That's always fun.
Yeah.
Now, when you build decks, are there any like theoretical concepts that you apply when you build? Like, do you do math at all? Do you think about ratios? What kind of theoretical concepts do you think is good to have in mind when you build?
I think um, I'm not the right person to ask about kind of the counts. I usually just eyeball the curve.
Right.
But 2 costs are, or like turn 1 plays are important to me. I like to go a bit higher than lower, and especially if you have great 2 cost units that you're happy with playing later on in the game.
Mm.
For instance, like regional governor
Mm.
and R2D2 and C3PO back in the Anakin set 3 deck. That was
Hmm.
just great. Those units were lovely, always, not
Yeah.
only turn 1. So there I was kind of happy playing more of those cheap units, and that's kind of a comfort thing for me where you can also mulligan a bit more aggressively.
So that's sort of
Um,
a card opportunity, like the opportunity loss, minimizing the opportunity loss of playing a card, making it so that it's viable throughout your curve.
mm,
Right.
yeah. But for the rest of the curve, it's, I guess, maybe planning more your game plan. Like, do you want to play a 4 cost on 4?
Mm.
Or are you would you rather play 2 costs, like in the Sabine Data Vault deck? So then you also need to think about, do you need as many 4 cost maybe? So are you okay with a little bit of a dip there? And as I mentioned earlier, I also kind of enjoy the tuning part where you actually think about kind of answers. But I can kind of maybe get too caught up in trying to have answers for everything. Sometimes I think I need to just cut down and rather have more of what I want to do.
Specialize a little bit.
Then like just have 3 offs of what your deck wants to do instead of having 1 offs of all the answers for things that might stop you. Kinda.
Do you ever do math, like how likely am I to draw this, or something like that? Do you use
A
testing
little bit
sites or anything?
when I was playing Han 1. And for instance, it was like fun looking. Okay, if I play the 2/4 R2D2, that lets me look at even more cards than just I'm able to with a mulligan. How likely am I to actually find resupply? How much can I count on ramping into the 7 costs? Or do I want to have other strong plays to have maybe on 5? Or yeah.
Yeah. Do you ever look into something like card, like efficiency analysis of cards, specific cards? Do you ever like look into how efficient is this card compared to this card when you choose cards?
No, I know there's a lot of great statistics you can get when you play on different online platforms. You can kind of see, okay, when this was played, this win percentage or la di da. I haven't really dove into that stuff.
You're more eyeballing it for that sort
Yeah.
of thing. Yeah.
What
How
about
about
you?
you, Jakob?
In terms of that last question, or generally?
Well, generally, like what
All of
kind
it.
of applies to when you're building decks? What kind of goes through your mind? What are you looking for? Are you specifically looking for curve? Are you specifically looking for efficient cards? What?
I tend to always start with, what is it that I'm trying to achieve with my deck? Like, is there a certain card that I am aiming to try to break, or very much the Johnny part of me is that of like, what can I achieve, and how can I achieve the best out of this card, for example. That's very much me and Jonah's video about Ray. The Ray unit was that, like, how do we break this? But more than that, the spike sort of spike Johnny deck builder in me is very much about efficiency. I'd like to make sure that the cards that I choose fit well in the deck, and I tend to go very high on 2 drops or lower nowadays. I very much like to be able to pack a few tools against the meta. So in that sense, I'd like to be able to do a greedy mulligan. So I tend to go 14 or even 15 2 drops or lower in most of my deck buildings these last few sets. And I don't want to go away from that. So that means that I can, even though I have a turn 1 and even maybe a turn 1 and a turn 2 play, I can greedily mulligan to maybe find the answer that I need for the matchup. So that's usually what I do, but there are a lot of different ways to talk about this, but I generally start by looking at, what type of events do I want to add, because those are the least in my deck usually. So I narrow down what events is interesting for me, what upgrades are interesting for me, and then I go maybe adding a few space things, and then I just focus on the ground last. That's a little bit of how I do deck building nowadays. But
Do you
more
have
than
set ratios for those things? Like, this is how many events I want to have. This is how many space units I
no,
want to have.
I try not to lock myself down into that, because that means that I will tend to often than not play the same type of deck all the time. I'd like to be able to challenge those trains of thoughts and maybe say, why can I not have more events? Like when you play Boba, I played the Bosk unit, and in those Bosk unit decks, you tend to go high with events because they're really good. So I try not to lock myself down too much with ratios, actually.
Yeah. Well, I think we should start wrapping this up. But as a final sort of thing, what would be your best advice to someone that is right now starting a deck build and they want to build something for this new set and they want to just go for something? What would be your best thing? Keep this in mind. Think about this. Jonah, do you want to go first?
First of all, I would say reflect a bit on your goal. Is this a timid deck, Johnny deck, or a spike deck? Like, almost you can think about these things as well. Like, are you just picking this leader and base because it's something you like? Then you shouldn't beat yourself up if it's not performing maybe the best. So first of all, think about what's the kind of what you want to achieve with the deck, and then if we maybe look at the most popular case of making it as best as possible, so maybe the spike route, talk to people, use resources like SWU Competitive Hub for inspiration, of course, but don't get too swayed by testing results. I feel like it's very easy to be discouraged by a few games, then throw a lot of cards out, new cards in, and then you're just gonna yo-yo. Try to find out what makes the deck powerful and focus on enabling that, and then as you get more experienced, you'll realize what's stopping you, and then you might need to tune it a bit.
Yeah. Very good advice. Jakob, what would you advise someone?
Yeah, the only thing I'd like to add is try to be free and open when you do deck building. Try to leave your sideboard open for meta answers. If that's the route you want to go, try to be free when you do the thing, like Jonah was saying. What are you trying to achieve? Make your deck the best way that you can in terms of what you want to achieve in terms of your main deck. And then you can always have open spots in your sideboard to try to treat with the meta.
Right. Yeah. No, I want to reiterate one thing that you said, Jonah. Like, think about what makes you happy playing the deck, because that's so important. I think if it is that you just want to win, well, then you should definitely talk to a lot of people and get feedback and all that. But if you're a Johnny player, that's gonna feel weird for you. That's not where you want to go. You want to cook something spicy. So if that's what's driving you, well, then you need to maybe either test a lot with someone you trust or math it out. Just do the calculations then. See if it's likely that I can pull this off that I want to do. Or if you're just a Timmy player, just find the cards you like to play in the way you like to play it and make it so. That would be my words to leave you with. All right.
Great.
We had a great episode here. I hope you enjoyed. Come back next week and listen to another one. We do these every week. But with that, I leave you adieu. Bye-bye, and may the force be with you.
See you.
See you.
Thanks for joining us, Jacob.